All right, this is Ashley again with the Saturday Stash Dive, and third time's a charm with trying to do this voiceover. Um, so there was something happened to my computer, and it didn't keep the voiceover. So when I uploaded it, it didn't work out. And so if you've already seen these 3 cards, I'm going to do 3 cards for the Saturday Stash Dive using ribbon, which is the challenge. If you've already seen it, then it is the same video. It's just the voiceover will explain all of the products. So I'll start out with the cardstock, which is, I think it's 120-pound cardstock from Michaels, and it comes in in a pack of about 100. I'm using Recollections Detail Gold Embossing Powder, and I use Versamark for the ink to apply that. And I don't really care too much about the mess up there at the bottom because I will be covering that. Also, I'm using a new Recollections trimmer, which was $7.99, as among all the other deals this weekend. And this is Recollections ribbon tape, I believe, or tape ribbon, however you want to say that. And I'm loving that. I'm using that quite a bit, and I think I'm going to be making my own Christmas cards to send out, just like a lot of other crafters. And I'll be using that ribbon tape on quite a bit. So here's a new tool that I got called the 10-second bow maker, and that was a pretty quick one. And I do another bow, since the challenge is ribbon, I do another bow here with the next card. But that is from 10secondbowmaker.com. So if y'all have any questions about that, let me know. But it was worth the money. It's a great way to make a really pretty bow without having to worry too much or fuss with it too much. So the sentiment is from a photopolymer stamp set from Stampin' Up, and that's another thing. I will be using quite a bit of cardstock punches, or a couple of punches and ink, as well as stamps from Stampin' Up. I just had a little get together a few weeks ago and bought quite a bit of stuff. So I'm really excited about the stuff that I got, because I'm not crazy into card making, but I really want to be, and so I got some great things to start off with. If y'all are interested in seeing the things that I got, just let me know. So the sentiment says Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, I believe. And it's, like I said, it's from a photopolymer stamp set from Stampin' Up. And I believe it's the Christmas tags. Here I'm looking through a stack of Stampin' Up cardstock. And this is Pool Party, so I'll be using Pool Party ink for a tone-on-tone effect. This stamp set right here with the diagonal, I guess, stripes is called Gorgeous Grunge. It is one of my favorite stamp sets. It gives kind of a splattery effect, and just like it sounds, I mean, kind of a grungy effect, and I love that. The sentiment that I'm using, and I'm stamping it in Pool Party on just some white cardstock. It's from Label Love, and it coordinates with this artisan label punch that I also used in the first card. So this cardstock this pattern paper, I guess I should say, that I'm using is from Target, and it's the American Crafts. It's a 6x6 pad. A lot of people have shown this. I just haven't used a ton of it. I'm like a lot of other people where I got the paper pad and then was hoarding it because it was so cute and I didn't want to use it, but I have been using it a lot. So here I'm doing a double ribbon, or a double bow, and so I'm sorry about that. My working. So anyway, I'm sorry about that. I did do a double bow, and then I'm going to go ahead and adhere this bow. I was waiting for the hot glue gun to warm up. But the other punch that I'm using is the decorative label punch from Stampin' Up, and it also coordinates with quite a bit of things. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do a party and test some things out, because I love how a lot of their things coordinate. And I can just like start slow and then start building things, and hopefully the things that I'll get will coordinate with a lot of the things I already have. So now this is the last card, and if you notice, the first card was a 4x4 card, the second card was a standard size, and this third card is a 4x4. I feel like sometimes it's easier for me to create when the card is not as big, and so I'm sure that's how it is for a lot of other people. So I'm working with that today, but this is the Slate cardstock, or the base is the same cardstock I've been using from Michaels. The gray is Smoky Slate from Stampin' Up, and then the ink is Smoky Slate as well. And then I'm using that same stamp set, which is the Gorgeous Grunge, stamp set. And I believe I'm going to use the same 6x6 pad from Target, and then the glitter paper is American Crafts. I think I also got that from Target in their little section as well. in their tiny scrapbooking section. So I'll be kind of fussing with some layers here in a second with how I want to stack things up and provide like a little anchor for my sentiment. Annie, stop. Come here. And so I'm going to trim that off, but I'm trying to figure out what ribbon I want to use on this, because after all, the challenge is ribbon. And let me just say that I know I'm not using a ton of ribbon, but just diving into my stash at all is really good for me. And so I thought that that would be a good challenge, number one, to make cards, but also to use ribbon. I went ahead and I looked at 2 grays. I went with the darker gray just for contrast. And then I'm going to trim that off. I'm not going to do a bow on this one. I just decided to do it vertically rather than horizontally, and then I feel like there's too much stuff on the top that provide a base for the sentiment, and so I didn't think that a bow was needed, and you'll see what I'm talking about here in a second. So that was a bad idea. I should have used a smaller punch for that gold glitter piece, but the sentiment that I'm using is from the Itty Bitty label, or Itty Bitty banner stamp set from Stampin' Up. This is the, yeah, it's called Itty Bitty Banner. I'm using the thank you sentiment. This does have coordinating dies that go with it. I didn't get those because it is fairly easy to cut out, just because the lines aren't too, I would think like scallop lines are a little bit difficult to cut out, flowers, things like that. So I wanted to kind of be smart and spend my money on on punches or dies that would maybe be a little bit more difficult to cut images out, if that makes sense. I don't know if that made sense at all. So here I've used a scallop punch, and I believe that's, I want to say it's like 1 1/4 inch, maybe it's a 1 1/2. And then I used a heart, and that was an EK Success punch. And that was a 3-step punch. You can do 3 different designs with the heart punch that I have from EK Success. And then I popped the sentiment up on pop dots. And then I'm going to put the whole thing onto the base, but you won't see that because it got cut off. So here is the thank you card up close, and you'll see the really pretty gorgeous grunge set, and you'll see that here too. It really does give it a nice effect. And that's the double bow that I used. And then this is the Christmas card that I'm really loving. It doesn't look as traditional. I like traditional Christmas, but I like this too. So I hope you guys enjoyed. And if you have any questions or something didn't make sense, be sure to ask me. Have a great weekend.